A senior Iraqi official has put the blame for Monday's terror blitz, which killed 116, squarely on Al-Qaeda. The nationwide offensive, spanning at least 13 cities, ended with 2 more bombings during the night. Now, the attacks range from bombings to shootings and primarily targeted Iraq's government and security forces. RT's Ganecha Chakad now with details.
The self-appointed leader of the Iraqi branch of Al-Qaeda, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, has announced the resurgence of terror in the country and clearly indicated there is more to come. Moreover, he dedicated more than half of his online speech to the uprising in Syria. They happen to be staunch supporters of the rebels there. Various organizations are pointing at the expansion of terrorist networks in Syria, which effectively fuels civil war there. So this Iraqi-based Al-Qaeda leader also warned the Syrian rebels, quote, not to accept any rule or constitution but God's rule and Sharia, Islamic law. Otherwise, quote, you will lose your blessed revolution, end of quote. Also, in his message of support to the Syrian rebels, he says, quote, we taught the world lessons of courage and jihad and proved that injustice could only be removed by force, end of quote. To talk a little bit more about lessons of Iraq, I'm joined by Michael O'Brien, author of the book called America's Failure in Iraq. Sir, you were based in Baghdad at the height of the insurgency there. So with the U.S. invasion in Iraq, sectarian war blossomed, rampant insurgency, terror, which still continues to kill Iraqis on a regular basis. In June alone, nearly 200 people were killed in similar attacks across Iraq. When the U.S. decided to go in, do you think they didn't know how divided Iraq was and what consequences the regime change would lead to?
It was never really seriously considered. And I say this because of the very simplistic attitude, the very cavalier attitude of the Bush administration, of which I was in the Bush administration for 2 years.
So they didn't know about it?
Well, they knew about it. They just, I really don't think they factored it in at all. Everything the United States did led to where they are in Iraq today. It was totally destabilized. And then you get the tension between the Sunni and the Shia. Saddam was a Sunni, which is a minority of the population. Al-Qaeda, all they want to do, Al-Qaeda in Iraq, is they'll kill Sunnis so that the Shiites take the blame. They'll kill Shiites so that the Sunni will take the blame. They really don't care. All they want to do is kill people and foment unrest.
Do you think those world powers that call for a military intervention in Syria know how divided Syria is?
I certainly hope that they take these factors like that into consideration after the lessons of Iraq. The lessons of Iraq are there for all the world to see.
Michael O'Brien, thank you, sir. There's terrible violence going on in Syria. It is now an all-out civil war. Those who are against military intervention there remind how divided Syria is between different ethnic groups, religious communities. It's a powder keg, essentially, and many warn if a solution is forced on them from outside, from out of Syria, the powder keg could blow into a never-ending civil war. Iraq is an example. After the U.S. carried out regime change there, civil war broke out and killed more than 100,000 civilians, not to mention millions of refugees. As the recent attacks showed, Iraq still remains a hotbed of terror. In Washington, I'm Ganecha Chakad.